It is the Patrick Netherton Show, and today is the day that we're bringing you probably the two most famous alums of LSU within the last decade or so. Devin White coming your way in about 30 minutes, and Tatum Everett joining us right now from Omaha. Hope you understand what a large mantle that is, Tatum, to be one of the most famous alums from LSU. Hope you understand that.
Yeah, I can't imagine that that's actually the case. I mean, I totally agree with you saying that about Devin. I mean, it's a great intro, though. I'll take it.
Hey, that's what we're here for. We're here to make sure everyone understands just how important and special our guests are. All right, so you're in Omaha, where you were several years back when LSU was making a run there while you were here. Now you're back. You're covering Vanderbilt. Tell me about the overall vibe. I mean, it's a winner take all. It's got to feel pretty awesome to be back in that situation again.
Yeah, I think anytime you can get a chance to return to the College World Series, it's just a ton of fun. It's definitely a different feeling because I've only been up here for the championship series, and the only other championship series I covered, as you said, was 2 years ago. LSU was out in two. So this is kind of a different vibe because it is a winner-take-all game. The champions decided tonight, and so that's a different type of atmosphere. But I will say, for LSU fans, I've seen about 20 of them since I've been here over the last 2 days. I know that you hear all these remarks about how LSU fans, they're at the College World Series no matter what. Well, they actually are, and they're still here, and I've seen a bunch of them, and they still wear all their gear, which is fantastic. But I do think, I think Michigan has really embraced the whole never been here since the 60s attitude, and their fan base is pretty loud, and they are everywhere. We do see obviously a lot of Vanderbilt fans as well, but I definitely think Michigan has a pretty large and loud contingency.
Speaking of loud, we got to talk about the Whistler for a second. Because I know. So give me, before I tell you my take on the Whistler, give me your take on the Whistler.
I've noticed it. I feel like I'm a pretty observant person, both visually and audibly, and that's the first thing I noticed when I went to a Vanderbilt baseball game. And I'm not going to lie, it's not my favorite thing in the whole world. Right. I'm not really excited to hear it all the time. I notice that the minute it happens, it annoys me all the time. However, the players love it, and they like that he does it. Yes, the players like it. They like that it's this kind of, I relate it a lot to when they say, "Go Tigers" at an LSU baseball game, because you do hear that in the background, but it's cheering, and it's something that's socially acceptable all the time, and things like that. But people just don't like the fact that it's that whistle, and the fans are involved. They
clap
after he does the three whistles. So I think it's just a thing that they like. It's their shtick. It's like the cowbells. Everyone hates it except for the fans that do it and appreciate it.
Well, I was actually, to be honest with you, I'd never heard any information on whether the players enjoyed it or not. So it's interesting to hear that they like it. Yeah, that's good info.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. Look, I'm as annoyed by the Vandy Whistler as anyone. But I also don't like the idea that the NCAA is trying to shut him up just because he annoys people. He's not yelling racial epithets. He's not telling people about their mom. He's not insulting anyone. He doesn't have an artificial noisemaker unless you consider his fingers artificial. I think it's a slippery slope from, hey, this guy annoys me, so let's ban the Vandy Whistler, to, hey, this guy over here yelling annoys me, let's ban him, or this guy that's clapping really loud.
Yeah, he's been pretty open about how he's tried to work with the NCAA on this, and he doesn't want to annoy people. He doesn't want to upset fans or anything. He's very much been on the side of, like, this is what we do at the ballpark for our team and for our kids, and if the players didn't like it, then I wouldn't do it.
Right.
It's not about me. It's about them. And they don't have a problem with it, at Hawkins Field. And so, I mean, look, I'm going to be honest with you, those cowbells drive me absolutely insane at Michigan State. But there's nothing we can do about it. They're allowed when we play them. And so I think it's kind of the same parameter. Yeah. You're right. It's not like an actual thing you bring in the stadium. It's a little hard to regulate.
Yeah, it's not an artificial noisemaker. And again, I think
Right.
we're walking a slippery slope when we start banning people just because they annoy each other. If we were banning people just for being annoying, Rogers would have ended this show months ago. I mean, let's be honest, because he finds me annoying every single day. So this would have ended a long time ago. All right, talking to Tatum Everett, who is in Omaha, getting ready for Game 3. Tell me about the Kumar Rocker phenomenon. This has been just awesome. The no-hitter,
Right.
19 strikeouts in the Super Regional. No-hitter never been thrown in a Super Regional. They needed him again to make the perfect run through the beginning of the College World Series, and now he goes out and does it again. I mean, this has got to be just an insane phenomenon running around Vanderbilt right now.
Oh, I think he's a household name after last night. I mean, he's a guy, you're just going to say Kumar and everyone knows who he is. That's just a matter of fact.
Yeah.
After his performance in the Super Regional and now, I mean, this kid is a freshman. How unfair is it that last year he was pitching to high schoolers?
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine that. That curve, and here's the deal. His changeup, he developed his changeup pitch at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
So he's only been pitching that not even a year, or throwing that not even a year, because he told us earlier that that's something that he came to Vanderbilt and wanted to work on. And that was something he worked on in the fall.
Yeah.
And brought to the table now. And that's why I think that's part of it. He struggled early on in the season. He didn't just get to Vanderbilt, start, the early season and just cruise through. I mean, he really just found himself throughout the SEC play. And now I think he's an unstoppable force that, it's a scary thought if you're an SEC team to have him around for 2 more years.
Yeah. And that's the crazy thing is by going to college, because the college model is you can go right out of high school to the major leagues if you want, but if you go to college, you're there for 3 years. So it's kind of scary to think about. This guy probably could be pitching in the professional ranks somewhere right now, and the poor SEC batters have to face him.
He was drafted.
Yeah.
He turned down millions of dollars for this, but his mother values education and really was like, look, I would rather you do this route. And let it be his decision, but he went with what Mom said, and here he is, pitching in the College World Series. You know?
So, it's an amazing story, and he once again kept Vanderbilt's season alive in an elimination game, just like he did in the Super Regional. All right, so what's the feeling for Game 3? I've got to imagine Vanderbilt kind of has a bit of an advantage. They're more seasoned. They have more wins. They kind of are used to this sort of pressure. Like we said, they've had 2 elimination games that they've overcome. Granted, they've had a special talent on the mound doing it, but I feel like it's Vanderbilt's advantage for Game 3. What's the feeling around the Vanderbilt folks?
They came in pretty loose today. I think that they were really out of their game in Game 1. They just didn't look like themselves. And it was kind of the same reaction they had, I think, in that Super Regional first game against Duke when they lost 18-5. They came in today walking through here. Coach Corbin was super friendly, and he just seemed like he was in a great mood. The players had smiles on their faces, and I think that's a lot to do with their maturity. And this team really is wise beyond their years. I mean, I've never seen a group so even-keeled. They're very level-headed, and they just have their wits about them all the time. They're going with Mason Hickman, who is 8-0 on the season tonight. He's a Hendersonville native, so he's from, right outside of Nashville, and he's a sophomore. So a younger kid, but they have all the faith in him to come out here in Game 3 and kind of get things done. I think the mindset is they do have a couple pitchers in the bullpen if they need them, but they want Hickman to go 6 or 7 so they can, hopefully 7, so they can put in the closer from last night, Tyler Brown, because he's definitely ready to pitch again. He's had 17 saves of the season. He's also he used to be a starter, and he really embraced this closer role for the Commodores this season, and that's kind of been his place all year long. And so they feel confident in those 2 guys. But Patrick, this Michigan, you have to hats off to Eric Bakich. I mean,
yeah,
he's gotten this team here, and I don't know how many. I'm sure they say it a million. I don't get to hear the ESPN broadcast from the press box, but I'm sure they've said it a million times about how he was at Vanderbilt for 6 seasons. And
Tim Corbin is the mentor, and he's the student kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly. But, he really took a risk yesterday pitching Isaiah Page because Page is not one of their 3 starters. There are 3 rotators. It's Carl Kaufman, who will start today, and Jeff Criswell, who normally starts for them. Now, Criswell has only come in in relief this College World Series. He's only pitched 5 2/3 innings. So if Carl Kaufman, who was picked 77th overall by the Rockies, comes in today and stinks for some reason, they've got basically their number 3 starter in relief after him. So by pitching Page yesterday, Bakich kind of came in with this mentality that Kaufman was only going to come in on 4 days of rest, 3 days of rest yesterday. He's coming in on 4 today. So he really wanted him to have another day of rest before pitching him. And so that's kind of the mindset behind it. But I think this Vanderbilt team needs to find their offense. I think that's the most important thing. We can talk about pitching matchups all day, but their bats just haven't exactly been there. Their offense has been a little streaky, and I think they need someone big to step up in this game and kind of get it going. Once they get that inning, I think they can break this game open.
Yeah, I feel like that too. And it seems like the conventional wisdom is Michigan's probably just going to pitch the 2 guys you mentioned and may not throw anyone else. It may be all 9 between those 2.
Yeah, they used their bullpen yesterday, you know?
Yeah, and you mentioned Hickman. I mean, 8-0, 2.08 ERA. And Vanderbilt has an advantage in the fact that they've got 4 guys who all have double-digit starts this year. And so anyone that they want to turn to, they have the ability to go out and understand how to start. Even though Hickman's only had 12 starts, that's still quite a few. A double-digit start is a big deal. Finally, I'm curious, Tatum, when you look at the totality of the season for Vanderbilt, they've been 1 or 2 most of the year, nearly 60 wins this year. They went in as the 2 seed. If they lose to Michigan, is that somehow a disappointing season for them if they don't win the championship?
Wow, that's a real. I haven't really quite thought about that. That's a good question. You have to think at the end of it all, it really is. I mean, they've accomplished so much. I mean, regular season SEC title, SEC tournament, 58 wins, most ever in an SEC season. I mean, they've hit every mark you want to hit. A championship would probably be the likelihood at the end of that if you heard all those stats.
Right.
I mean, I would say this, I'm not a player, but I would be disappointed if I was.
Yeah.
You would have to think so. You would really do. And I know that they've also talked about this during the broadcast as you've been watching, that this team lost one of their players right before the NCAA tournament their freshman year, and if they hadn't, he would be here right now on this run. And that's who they're doing it for. His name was Vandy Everett, and he, a lot of these, I think the senior class of 5 guys, they were all super close, and they're doing this for him. And so I think that has translated down to the underclassmen and has made this team grow up fast. They're bonded by this tragedy, but they're also stronger and closer because of it. And every class ever since then has taken on that mentality. And so, I really haven't seen a team this mentally tough before. So I feel like if anyone can pull this off, it's them. I'd be surprised if they didn't. I think it's going to be a close one tonight for sure. I think we're going to see a really close game. I think Vanderbilt wins 3-2. But at the same time, I think they're doing this for a bigger reason, and I think that's what ultimately they'd be the most disappointed about, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. They're playing for a fallen comrade. There's very few things that can emotionally inspire a team more than that. And I tend to agree with you. I don't know if it's going to be that close or that low scoring, but I agree with you in the fact that Vanderbilt knows how to win, and they've known how to win their entire season. I just feel like that puts them in the driver's seat when it comes to the final game in this situation. Look, regardless, enjoy the heck out of the experience, Tatum. I know you will, and go out there, and I hope that a dog photobombs you again while you're on the air. I can only hope that happens.
I know, right? The only thing I regret doing is I didn't play any music behind that dog clip. I think it would have been so good with a little, millionaire, riding dirty or something.
Right.
I really missed the mark on that one.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. Live and learn. That's why you're growing. That's why you're making your way through the ranks. But seriously,
I really should just retire after the dog shot, though.
I mean, it's a thought. It certainly is the thought. I mean, I don't know how you go up from there, but just figure it out. Figure it out. You'll get there. I promise. Tatum, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Sure thing, Patrick. Thank you so much.
All right. Tatum Everett, Fox 17 out of Nashville. She is in Omaha for the College World Series. And